Okay, aloha. Hope everybody is
Aloha.
well and doing good. Today I have here with me, very honored and happy to see his face again. This is Taiyo Na. He is an amazing writer, poet, musician, father, husband, friend, human being. So this is my brother. So I want to say welcome to the show, Taiyo, and good to see you, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. So, Tayo and I have known each other for how many years now? Feels like decades, yeah?
Long time, yeah. Let's see, must have been 1999, so 26 years.
Oh my
Wow.
God, 26 years. Well, cheers to that. I just want to share a cup of goodness with you. What are you drinking today?
Definitely honey tea. Getting
Right on.
over a cold and still got a little cough, sore throat. But yeah,
Mm.
I got honey, ginger, lemon, cinnamon, and jujubes in there.
Ooh, very nice.
How about you? What you
Beautiful.
drinking on?
I am drinking some chamomile honey tea, so it's
Mm,
very soothing. Sule made it for me to,
nice,
prepare for today.
nice.
So how's your family? You have a beautiful family, and it's just wonderful to see them growing with you on online now.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we're all right. Yeah, Jayu, our almost 5-year-old, is
Oh,
the joy of our life.
oh, God bless.
Just in I remember when Sulela was going through this, just like this explosion of creativity and art. So he's like drawing
Mm.
and painting all the time.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Loves dancing.
Oh,
Dancing at APT. Are you kids into that?
yes, we danced that together as a family.
All the kids love that
Ah,
song.
pacha.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sweet. Right on. So, what's been going on in your life? I'd love to just catch up and see what's new. What have you been up to lately? I know you're. Are you still coaching or?
No, I haven't been coaching basketball in a while since having Jayu, but
Hmm.
still
Right on.
teaching and working on different writing projects, and yeah, yeah, work wise, feel things feel good.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can't really complain despite the crazy state of our country.
I know, right? This is the craziest it's been since I can't even remember. Oh Lord, how do you cope? That's a good question. I'm asking everybody because we're all having to deal in our own ways with the madness that is our reality right now. So, what's your way of coping, if you don't mind me asking?
Mm, I mean, I guess it was that it's that Toni Morrison quote. It's like
Mm.
at times like this where the writers, the artists go to work, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I feel that like fascism wants everybody to fall in line. Fascism wants
Word.
everybody to just bow down and obey and be compliant, and all the more reason to really not just like nurture my own voice and nurture my
Mm-hmm.
own creativity, but really facilitate that at others, and to
Beautiful.
push others to hone their voices and speak out and think for themselves, about what's really going
Word.
on. So, um, I just, I really find a lot of joy and sustenance in teaching. It keeps me grounded, keeps me around
Mm-hmm.
young people and
Word.
fabulous educators, and it keeps me just grounded and rooted in the times. And like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, young folks, they facing the world, and what I mean.
Mm.
They're fearless about it, and
Mm-hmm.
they got the whole lives ahead of them. So,
Word.
um, all of that, their courage and their ingenuity and their fears, all of that, their anxieties, just keep me very grounded and centered and inspired.
Mm. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I see that in you, man. I remember at your wedding, those kids loved you, all the kids you were coaching and teaching. So
Thank you.
And I love how you, you really are what you're about. So speaking of that, I love your scarf, and I love how you stand in solidarity, and I love all the things that you do. You've always been somebody who, like, our entire friendship, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad this person exists in the world. I'm so glad Ty was here. Like, you make me believe in good people again. So I'm grateful to you for that.
Thank you. Likewise. Soup.
Oh man. So I know you're also an amazing poet. Do you have any poetry related things coming up? I saw something.
Yeah, you know, I can't believe after all these years, people still want us around.
Yeah, right.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Mahalo kaya kuha.
Right. There's some readings coming up. The Asian American Arts Alliance. Something down the hall, down the way. I think in May with the Flushing Public Library, and
Mm,
yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I think that's another one of the great joys that's been keeping me going is like just connecting with younger artists, younger organizers. People who are like 10, 15 years younger than me, but
mm-hmm.
their
They got
fire is
that
still
fire
bright.
still, right? They
Yeah,
got that
yeah,
energy.
just
It's
that
good.
energy of like being in your late 20s and early 30s,
Mm-hmm.
just want to really do something special. But they have such a much wider consciousness now, and so
Mm-hmm.
like that really inspires me. It's like we were when we were doing things, or when I was doing things in my 20s or teens, it was just so different. It was
Mm,
there's much more of a very masculine culture of trying
mm,
to, grind hard and grind
yeah.
over and the just the attention to like mental health and just
Mm,
people's emotional well-being, psychological well-being wasn't there the way it is now. People's attention to gender and just non-binary ways of being and thinking wasn't there. So just
mm-hmm.
keep it in touch and just keep it close context and just getting to know all these like younger creatives and organizers been amazing. I love it.
Oh, beautiful. Right on. Yeah, we all help fuel each other, right? And they definitely
Yeah.
are like the sparks in the fire that get us going.
Yeah.
Right on. So, tell us a little bit about your childhood. What were you like as a child growing up? Something about your background for
Wow.
folks who don't know you. Yeah.
Hmm. Wow. Where do we start with childhood? I grew up in New York City. I grew up with a single mom,
Mm,
and I think just the way my mom raised my brother and I, and just how she had to rough it, so much of it on her own, really, you know, created, I think, this unique identity in me where like I feel like I was attuned to how maybe women suffer
mm,
by the hands of patriarchy, but I also think I was really lost because of it. Like I didn't see models of love and
mm,
companionship and friendship in
mm,
healthy ways. So I really had to learn that as
mm.
no, so I
Yeah, I
made a lot of
feel you.
mistakes, in relationships,
Hmm.
especially in my 20s. And so, there was both of that. Like my mother instilled in us such resilience and creativity, and just being okay with being a lot more feminine than the very masculine dominant culture. But we didn't have any models for how to really healthily relate to each other. So had to really learn through a lot of mistakes as an adult.
Yeah. I love your mom. She's such a wonderful woman and talented and creative in her own right. She's an artist as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
do you
yeah,
feel like you get some of that from her or what?
yeah, definitely. And her
Mm,
side of the family, are all like educators. The men and
Mm.
women were
Oh, really
like
run in
for
your
like
family.
100 plus years were educators in
Oh,
different
that
ways.
makes so much sense, Tayo. I love that. I love knowing that about you.
Like yeah, like at all levels, like women who like taught indigenous folks, like in
Hmm.
Okinawa or Hokkaido,
Hmm.
teaching them like sewing and like cooking and stuff to like people who
Hmm.
like high school or college professors. So a lot of educators on that side of the family, and then you know I have and have had a complicated relationship with my father, but my father's side is actually the very indigenous side, and they're all people of the land, they're all people who are
Hmm.
farmers. So
Right on.
there's a certain kind of connectivity and earthiness that I have, a relationship to the land that I have that I think comes from my father's side for sure.
Hmm. Oh, that makes sense. You are very earthy. You get it from him then, eh?
Yeah.
Hmm. Nice. Yeah, and I love your song "Dear Mama." That's one of my favorites. I mean, I have a couple of songs of yours that are the classics in my head and heart. So, "By the Water" and "Dear Mama" is just such a beautiful tribute to your mother. So, thank you for making that song,
Thank you.
bro.
Yeah, lovely to meet
Yeah.
immigrant mother, dear mama. That's the Tupac
Immigrant
song, but
mother.
for
Oh,
sure. It's
sorry. I mean,
definitely
I meant immigrant mother. You know,
definitely
my
influenced
auntie,
by that.
my old brain, the Sapakalolo and the the age, but
All
I
good.
meant immigrant mother.
All good.
Was it inspired by Dear Mama? Would you say at all, or?
For sure. I mean, I think
Mm,
Tupac was
I
one
love
of the
Tupac.
sole voices I think in the '90s who like he was such a ball of contradictions. Just
Word.
like I get around. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
like the other side of the single is keep your head
This
up.
one's
You
for
know what I
Tupac.
mean? So
Mm-hmm.
um, I think, but all at the core of it, I think he was deeply feminist in a time that was anti-feminist. So for sure, I got those. Like I remember playing "Keep Your Head Up." That whole "Strictly for My N Words" album, like that album was on repeat. Like in the mid '90s for me, I used to wake up every
Beautiful.
morning with that song "Keep Your Head Up" playing, and just
Mm.
back in the day, it was like different. Like you really
Ooh,
treasure
child.
CDs and tapes, and like these things were on repeat all the time. My cassette tapes
Mm-hmm.
and my CDs. So for sure, I think Tupac is a huge influence to allow just a young man like me to just like be okay with being vulnerable, be okay with standing up for women or speaking out for for real justice for all people. So yeah,
Word.
and I think obviously yeah, like I said, it's Tupac, sure, but it's also like my mom.
Yes. Right on. Speaking of Tupac and standing up, and can you tell us a little bit about, you know, your scarf and why you're wearing it for people who may not know or people who,
Oh
I
yeah,
love, yeah,
yeah. This keffiyeh is it's something that
kafia.
keffiyeh is indigenous to Palestine, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been wearing it to be in solidarity with people in Palestine and
Yeah.
people of the diaspora of Palestine, and just yeah, I mean it's been really sad and tragic to see genocide and land theft,
Yes.
roll out in real time, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody watching, social media and the news. So, yeah, it's been the same story. You know what I mean? For hundreds of years, it's been the same story. But for it to happen on our watch like this,
Mm-hmm.
the past couple of administrations, especially, is horrible. But at the same time, it's galvanized the world. It's really shown people's true colors. So,
Mm-hmm.
the bravery and resilience of the Palestinian people is also something that we all
Yes. Bless
take,
them.
um,
Mm-hmm. Free
and they
Palestine.
guide us as lights.
Mm-hmm. They do. They guide us as lights right now in this time. You're so right. And it's so confusing and crazy. And sometimes, you get frozen with terror and sometimes you don't know what to do. What do you feel? What can we do to help? Like what? Sometimes we feel like we can't do anything, but what are some of the things that you do that you suggest that maybe other people who are watching can do who don't know? Like what is the most effective way to be in solidarity at this time? Do you boycott like the things, you know, like Starbucks, etc.?
I've been boycotting the things for sure. BDS
Mm-hmm.
all day, boycott, divestment,
Word.
sanctions. I mean, like I said, for me, I'm an educator. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I pay my rent, both financially and karmically in this world.
Mm-hmm.
With teaching, like I teach all the things. I don't hold back about colonialism, imperialism. You
We're
know,
living in the belly of the beast, bro. It's
yeah,
crazy.
all those things. You know what I
Do you
mean?
ever feel like leaving? Can I just ask you straight up? Like, you know, how a lot of people are going back to Ghana, a lot of people are going back to their native countries and to their native ancestral homelands at this point. So I see two camps. I see people like staying to stick it out and fight, and I see people being like, I'm out, this is too much. And I respect both sides. I feel like, you know, both sides have valid reasons and are doing it for what they feel is the best for their ancestors. How do you feel about that? Do you feel mad at the people who want to leave, or do you feel like everybody's choice is their own?
I mean, migration is a human right. I believe
Mm.
migration is nature, is natural. So,
Mm.
folks want to
You're so
migrate.
wise. You talk in parables. I love it.
Folks want to
You've
migrate all
always
the way.
been like that. Yeah.
God bless and good luck. I mean, I don't. I mean, at the end of the day, also, I live a very privileged, rather middle class life here in New York City. So, I'm not. I don't feel jeopardized. You know what I mean? At least in a
Mm.
physical or financial way to leave. But, I mean, I'm also like, like you talk about Tupac, you know what I mean? Like the Panthers and, the Young
Mm.
Lords and the Yuri Kochiyama Asian American movement generation and AIM and American Indian movement, that generation in the 60s and 70s, like they were really facing some heavy fascism. And
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
true. I guess every generation, this is another spiral or
yeah, well, and many of them were forced to go
reiteration.
underground, and so we're not
Mm.
there yet. You know what I mean? But
Where,
I'm happy and honored to be part of the resistance in any way I can. So like, if it comes to that level, then hey, you know what I mean. Well, hopefully it doesn't, but let's see. You know what I mean? And I think it's we all need to do what we can to feel safe, to feel protected, and to pass on what we need to pass on. But
mm,
I don't feel jeopardized to move just yet, for sure.
right on. Well, I'm glad to know you in these crazy times, and I pray for the safety and the health of your family always. Yeah.
Thank you. Same.
Yeah. So you have been a writer and a musician for decades now. And can you tell me how do you navigate those two? Is it like sometimes you focus more on one and then another, or you do both simultaneously all the time? Or is it more like focus on being dad? Or what's your creative life like nowadays? And what's your process?
Definitely the last 4 or 5 years since having Jayu, being a dad has been my priority. In the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, it was really hard to accept that.
That's real.
Wow, this is like I
I
really don't have
feel
any
you.
personal time. Like, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
went from having like 20 hours of personal time a week, like
To
to
none.
none. Like
One.
really, that was definitely
Welcome
shocking.
to parenthood, bro.
Yeah, a huge it's just sacrifice to have to accept for the first year or so. But I think like you said to me before, like there are years when you write, there are years when you don't, there are years when you're living,
Mm,
there are years when you're studying, there are years when you're downloading. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah.
do believe that it's like really trying to listen to what God wants you to do right now and what nature wants you to do right now. So I think, how we know each other even was so special when when I
Mm,
was in my late teens and y'all were in your 20s, like getting to know each other through performance, poetry, and spoken word. That was such a beautiful time. That was what was needed for my body right for then. You know what I mean? To not just like connect through poetry and song, but like connect through that community.
yes. You're so blessed to
That
be a part of that community, right?
sure,
Oh
so blessed
gosh,
to be
that
part of
was.
that community, and for
Mm-hmm.
me, that also laid a certain foundation to do more music. In my late
Hmm.
20s and and everything I learned from the poetry spoken word times, informed how I moved, doing music in my late 20s and Magnetic North and all the music that we're creating. The musicians, this is now we're talking like 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was a special time for me too, and the last like 10 years or so, I haven't really been writing a lot of music. My like
Mm-hmm.
God hasn't been calling me to do that. My body hasn't been calling me to do that. It's been more about like writing poems and stories again. So
Beautiful.
that's and it's not that I like music isn't a part of my life or all of that. Like music is still a part of my life. I love music. I love playing. I love singing. But right now, like I feel what I'm downloading, what I'm channeling is more like poems and stories.
Mm. That's beautiful. And I feel that's so true because we have these different chapters in life and we
Yep.
grow and we evolve. And so
Yep.
it's not like we're always stuck doing the same thing. We're always in a different evolution, a different chapter. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Beautiful. Right on. So speaking of, Magnetic North, and I just saw that video again. That was a beautiful video, man, for We Belong.
Oh,
Is
thank
that
you.
another video? I feel like I saw a video in the past, and is this a newer version? Because it speaks about the.
That was the one from 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that was yeah, with all the anti-Asian hate crimes and hate going on, and especially with the Atlanta shooting in 2021. That was Tivu really like
I love
yeah.
Tivu. I love
Um,
how you guys come together like Voltron to make this beautiful, powerful, impactful, statement for our community. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. I mean, it was an honor to be amazing to be part of it.
Mm,
I think also just it's it's what was what we needed. What we were
mm-hmm.
feeling in the zeitgeist, and yeah, that was also a time 2021.
Oh my goodness. So what matters most to you, Tayo, in this world? What would you say?
Hmm. I think just being true to another human being, another life. Whoever or whatever's in
Mm-hmm.
front of you. That's what
Mm-hmm.
matters most. Tomorrow's
Yeah.
not guaranteed. So all we have is now.
Mm-hmm.
And the people around you, the living creatures around you.
Mm,
That's being good to them, being good to yourself. As much as
mm,
you can. That's what matters most. I think.
beautiful. And if you had just one more day to live, what would you do on that day? How would you spend
Oh,
it?
jeez.
Is that too deep? I'll go. Maybe we'll start a little
Final
easier. What
instruction.
about bucket list? Do you have anything left on the bucket list? Let's extend the time. Any
Hmm.
kind of things you want to do still in this lifetime that you haven't done yet?
Well, I've been working on this collection of poems and stories that have to
Oh,
do with like my life as a parent and as a
hmm,
as a teacher around young people, and like just I never it's like it's always about like going back to Toni Morrison, the book you want to see in the world that you haven't seen it, you know what I mean,
yes.
like yeah, like there are these poems and stories that have been coming out through me about just poems about young people and like the relationship between young people and just parents and teachers, and so that's a project I'm working on right now. I'd love to see in fruition, but yeah, other than that, parenting and teaching, yeah.
Right on. That's so exciting. I can't wait to read it. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yes. You are such a beautiful writer, and I'm not just saying that because I'm your friend. I loved your writing since your first poems many years ago, and I can't even tell you how many times I've cried because of like certain words or certain phrases or certain poems and songs. So you do have that heart and soul. It's very touches my heart. So yeah.
Same. I mean, I was just thinking today about how many of your poems, in
You're
your
such an
work,
angel.
your writing, has like impacted me and is in my DNA. Like yeah.
Okay, como va your brother? Oh, sweet. So, is there anything? How can we support you, Tayo, and your beautiful family? What are some ways that if people want, can they take a workshop with you, or come see you in an event, or what are some ways that people could? Is there? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the socials, Taiyo Na. I think I've been really connecting with this group locally called Think Chinatown, so I'll be
Hmm.
around there. Um, I've been supporting these younger artists like Trey Lamb and Jessica Snow, and I love what they do.
Hmm.
Um, and then there's that anthology that we're a part of. I'm so happy we got to be part of that. We the Gather Heat, you know,
Oh yes.
anthology.
Congratulations. Beautiful.
Yeah, spoken word, poetry, anthology. So yeah, um,
Right on. So, thank you for sharing. I'll include links and what has been one of your proudest accomplishments? Can I ask that?
one of my proudest accomplishments. Um,
Or a challenging part of your journey?
yeah.
You got a choice.
Hmm. Yeah, let me answer the challenge. I mean, I'm always trying to work on the next proudest thing. Another day
Yeah.
as a dad. Another another poem,
Okay.
another story.
Word.
Challenging. The most challenging thing. Um, I think the most challenging thing has been becoming a dad. I think like
Hmm.
just like you know what? Can I read a poem about it?
Yes, I would love
Okay,
that. Thank
great,
you. I forgot you brought some poems. I
great,
want to hear all of
great.
them. I'm sure our audience would love to hear some poetry as well. So thank you.
Okay, so this is a poem I
Hmm.
recently wrote that kind of
Yeah.
answers like how challenging parenthood has been, but like just learning to be a dad and like just how amazing also it's been as well. It's like supremely challenging but supremely amazing.
Word. That's the truth.
So this is called Jumps. By the first month my son is born, I'm crawling out of my skin. The sleeplessness and the restlessness of being a father to a newborn feel completely alien to my whole body and psyche, however much I originally wanted to be a parent. My gray hairs explode, I seek and find a therapist, and I lose my temper in fits I never have had to endure in my entire life. My father and my grandfathers never got paternity leave. They also all considered raising children as women's work, norms of their time. I come from at least three generations of fathers who couldn't or wouldn't spend time with their kids when they're in that toddler age, and I feel it in my bones, my genes, and some innate part of me because it's midwinter recess. My son is now 4, and I know I can send him to daycare, but I don't. We
Hmm.
paint Optimus Prime, Voltron, and Dinobot on large butcher paper, build a
Hmm.
train city with tracks winding through the room and a network of figure eights, play with blocks, marbles, and cars, and eat pizza and more pizza. We go to the science museum, the grocery store, the science museum again. Everywhere we go, it's usually the mom or the nanny with other children, sometimes the grandparent. And at another point in my life, I would have felt alienated by this feeling of singularity, but I don't. I feel all the fathers in my genes before me and
Hmm.
dwell in this feeling that even though they never got all these hours and days with their children, they now are through me.
Hmm.
With parenting, a lot of times the metaphors escape you because parenting is the most primal and primary thing. Why we pour our love into them relentlessly, the energy coming from God knows where, them and ours to keep up. Our 4-year old just led us through a kind of guided meditation, calling for peace and
Oh.
quiet as he makes us close our eyes. We all giggle while we sit crisscross applesauce and eat the grapes we bought from the fruit stand. Moments before, he threw a deck of three pillows at me and called it a sandwich. Moments later, I see my 4 year old leap off the couch into my partner's arms in an impromptu game of trust. He keeps telling her to step a little back and then step a little forward till he finds just the right distance. Jump, and you catch me, he says. He means he'll jump and we'll catch him.
Hmm.
It's all there in every little thing. Elemental. His hands clash when he's nervous. His mouth puckers when he's focused. His cheeks magnetic to my lips. Parenting feels the most sacred when it's like that. Jump, and you catch me.
Oh my goodness. Bro, you made me cry. I told you. Oh Lord, that was so beautiful. See, that kind of magic. That's why I have such pure aloha for you. Thank you, brother. That's my favorite new poem now ever.
Oh,
Can you send that to me? Is that a poem or a story? It's just a beautiful wow gift.
yeah, thank
Komawayo.
you, thank you. It's like a
Aigu.
poem. It's like a prose poem. You know what?
It is.
I've recently been feeling out. I'm gonna send it to you right now. I've been
All
feeling
right.
like
Ah man.
I'm in that Willie Perdomo tradition.
I
Like
love
I
Willie.
love like I
He's such a
think
great poet in person.
yeah. Like I think
Mm.
he talked about that once. He's like, I don't know if my poems are prose or poetry, but it's some
Hmm.
whatever. It's whatever it is, but it feels
It's the
like it.
truth of your soul, and it's so
Yes, thank you.
beautiful. It's that magic.
Yep. Tell me about the labels.
Do you have more poems? I'd love to hear what if you have some that you can share because I feel like right now stories around the fire are very healing. They're very good for the soul.
Okay.
It's the good medicine that we need. That's kind of why I'm doing this because
Hmm.
the same thing about Toni Morrison. I haven't seen it, but I want to see it, and I know it exists because this is our
Hmm.
world, right?
Hmm.
So why don't we
Hmm.
share a little bit of goodness that is not even anywhere to be on TV and Netflix, etc. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
this is how we
Okay.
really talk, and these are the things that we do and share, like our art, our poetry, our conversations,
Okay.
our family.
Okay. Well, thank you for the invitation. How about one more? Is that all right?
Of course, and a song maybe if you feel like it.
Oh, my voice is pretty gravelly at the moment because of the cold I'm getting.
No,
But
yeah, you don't have to sing, but
let's
can you
see it.
send me some songs that I could put in the podcast if people want to check you out or find you, like maybe a couple of them?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome! Yay! Mahalo.
Okay. So let's see. Similar kind of theme, but this is. So I've been teaching many things over the years, but one course I've been teaching for the last 8 9 years, like pretty much every year, has been this course on Malcolm X, his legacy on social movements, and just like young people writing their
God
own
bless.
narratives.
Right
And
on.
so I always would tell like the same kind of story when when we get to that part in the book where he's cocking his hair.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like it was a popular thing for black men in the 1940s, 1930s to straighten their hair because it looked white. And when I get to that part, I always talk about my aunt. And my
Mm.
aunt has since, left the world a long time ago, maybe 15 years ago. But yeah, so it's this one's called Ode to Aunt Chiako and El
Mm.
Haj Malik El Shabazz.
Mm. Mahalo.
When I talk to students about Malcolm X as Detroit Red and that fire red conch and how it looked right because it looked white, I talk about my aunt Chiako, my favorite aunt, the one who has since crossed over, who descended from a millennia of earth tone farmers, who showered me with doting eyes, toys, and that oh so special phrase, choose anything from the store and I'll
Mm.
get it for you. I talk about how this dear aunt, sweeter than syrup, always had a
Hmm.
jar of skin bleaching cream by her bathroom mirror and sink.
Oof.
The pang it gave me to see how someone so beautiful felt the compulsion to do, as what Malcolm would say, such self degradation.
Hmm.
Aunt Chiako had a sixth sense. Her body moved with premonitions and cigarette fumes. When my
Hmm.
father, her younger brother, would fall into years of philandering, joblessness, and credit card debt, she knew, no matter how much he hid those things. She'd have these dreams, feelings telling her he was not all right,
Hmm.
confirmed when she'd ask me piercing questions about his whereabouts and ways. Years later, I think of her when my 3-year-old brings home a drawing, and it's a self portrait of crayons and construction paper. I
Hmm.
see that my son has chosen the color brown for his skin, and I say what I always say: this is beautiful, but the
Hmm.
feeling under my skin is so, so different.
Hmm. Beautiful. Como veo. Wow. I so love that you are teaching Malcolm X and that you are writing these poems. I mean, you're definitely doing your part to just keep the awareness alive and tell the stories that need to be told. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. That makes me think of Yuri Kochiyama with Love, who I know you also love
Yeah.
and was an integral part of, you know,
Yeah.
times and Malcolm's life as well. And, I used to go up to her place and we were having sessions to try to free an Asian American prisoner at the
Get
time. And
along. Yeah.
yes, and she was so loving and kind and warm, and she would bake these butter cookies for us, or she had them ready, I don't know, and milk. And so she kind of provided this comforting space while people organized, and that always stuck with me. And that's something that as I'm coming into my auntie-hood, I feel
Mm,
like there were times when I was on the street, there was times when I was saying the poems and I was getting like in the middle of all the heat, right? And
mm,
now in this stage, I feel like I'm at the time where come gather. You can use my house, which is what my grandfather did,
mm,
during the time when Korea was occupied. He actually did that in his basement. He got in trouble for it. But I feel like
mm.
this is like a modern day iteration. And this is where my stage is at life. And I'm finally gone okay with that. There are different people who have different roles and they serve in different ways in this new revolution. And I feel like all the ways are valid and all the ways are nourishing. We don't all have to be doing the most public in your face thing, especially if you have families and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like people should respect each other's roles more and work together as opposed to, fighting amongst ourselves in this crisis, right? So I don't know, it just you made me think all these things with your magical portal of a story.
No, you're right. All of that is in there. All of that is in there. I mean, that's why I was saying, like, I've been loving connecting with these younger artists because we'll host them at our house, or we'll be the ones cooking, or we'll be the ones they seek out for like elder advice, because they're going through something that we might have went through in our 20s and early 30s, and yeah, we all play a part. It's just we keep moving from chapter to chapter, like you said, and
Yo, there's somebody here on my yard. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Hey, hi, can I help you?
On behalf of your landlord here,
Oh, okay, hi.
appointment to take a the trees. We'll be back in the morning.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Mahalo. Sorry, yeah, the dog's okay. Yeah, thanks. I have a podcast going on, but sorry about that, man.
okay.
Yeah, I guess a little notice would have been nice, but it's okay. Things happen. That's life. An email, you know. Anyway, Kalamai, you were talking about some deep, beautiful stuff, and anyway,
I mean, it
okay,
wouldn't
I'm
it
gonna.
wouldn't be Hawaii if there was if there wasn't some animals or something.
That's life, yeah. I was like, oh, brother. So, okay, let me
Yeah, I
reset.
mean, yeah, like I said, yeah, just echoing what you're saying, like, yeah,
Yeah.
when we get into that generation, like, yeah, it's for our time to host. It's our time to host meetings and
Mm-hmm.
dinners or whatever, for sure. I feel that 100%.
Right on. Okay, so I have another question. What do you wish somebody had told you at the beginning of your artistic journey? Like, what would have been helpful?
I mean, I feel like
I'm
I
gonna break
got
it
some
down
of the
though.
best advice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Bo Sia was someone who was like,
Oh, 사랑해,
you know, like on some, realty tip, just like, live
What?
first. You know what I mean? Live
Mm-hmm.
first and then write second. You gotta live the questions.
Word.
Um, I mean, I think the kind of advice maybe I didn't get
Mm-hmm.
was like make sure you don't burn bridges so that you could like find a way to like stay getting paid. You know what I mean?
That's useful. That's real.
Like um like I mean, maybe that kind of advice wouldn't have mattered anyway because when you're young, it's like
Hmm.
you have so much reckless energy. But
Yeah. Aren't
um
you glad we didn't have Instagram and TikTok and all this back when we were younger?
yeah, right. We just be addicts, like these young folks, man, just phone, social media addicts.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just there's times where like I had so many broke years where I felt like maybe I didn't have to go through that, So
What do you mean
that's
by real key years?
no, I said broke years. I had
Oh,
so many,
broke years. I thought
I
you
had
were
so
being
many
very
broke.
poetic. I thought you were referencing the poet. Broke. Oh, your
Yeah,
broke years. I feel you on that. We all go through them in our 20s sometimes.
yeah, but maybe that's just a rite of passage, but I don't know. I guess as a dad, like I would never want, I would never want my son to be that hungry.
Yeah.
Make sure you always got some fly kicks on. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm still dealing with that, I guess.
That's honest. I appreciate that. So, what would you say to somebody who wants to follow a similar path as you? Would you give them like what kind of tips or advice? Any kind of if someone wants to
A
go down a
similar
road like
path. Yeah, I
mm-hmm.
mean, I'd say embrace teaching.
Hmm.
I felt like it took me until like I was 30 to
Mm-hmm.
be like okay with teaching. You know what I mean? I feel like teaching in general in this country is like teaching is only for those who don't make it, or teaching is for those. Well, there's that like phrase like those who don't do teach or something like that. Like
That's a
there's a
hater
lot.
phrase. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of like hater phrases of
Yeah.
towards teachers and but
Teachers
it's
do
not
the most work. I mean, they're shaping the human beings that are going to live in our society.
sure, but I think probably most creatives or writers who
Hmm.
who sustain themselves like over a longer course of time, like they
Yeah.
all teach. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they
That's
all
true.
teach. So like is there's just no knocking it, and yeah. I think just check the delusions of grandeur. Like just like it doesn't. Like it's. I think that's the thing. Like I think that's what I want to like. Any young person who's like just following the creative path and they actually want to listen to me. It's like that the person busking on the subway or and the person at the open mic or whoever like
Hmm.
that a voice you never heard of
Hmm.
can still be the most beautiful voice
Hmm.
next to whoever's been published and gets all the awards. It's
Hmm.
just respect when realness is being shared regardless of who it's from.
Word.
Yeah.
That's some good words of advice. I appreciate that. Right on. God bless you, Tayo. It's good to see you in the world and growing and evolving and entering this beautiful chapter of life here, and as a father, as a husband, as a teacher. And yeah, I look forward to getting more old hairs with you and having more cups of honey tea
Yeah. Yeah.
and connecting. So thank you for taking the time out of your day for this. I really appreciate it. We went over by like 20 minutes, but that means we were talking about good things and having a good time. So I
Okay.
appreciate you, man. I know you got to go back to your family. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a
Yes.
blast always, and
Oh,
yeah, I'm loving that you're doing this. So
oh,
cool that
God
you're doing
bless.
this, and yeah,
Oh.
I'm always here to support in any way I can.
I know. You're my brother. You're the best. Come on. I appreciate you. Sweet. Say aloha to your beautiful family.
Yes, aloha.
안녕하세요,
All
Sarah,
right.
Chayu. Yes. God bless. And Daichi, your mother. Aloha to everybody. And
Okay.
yeah, thanks for connecting. And I will see you again.
All right. Aloha. Love,
Aloha.
love.
Chihu.